he made history after becoming the first student to have his thesis film be distributed on Amazon.
A thesis film. Think about that for a second. Director and producer Michael Perrone joins us now to talk about his new film, Kurt, and among other things, being chosen as one of these people who gets on Amazon. Hi, how you doing, Michael?
Hey guys, nice to meet you.
How did that happen?
Well, you know, essentially, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It was something that took about 5 years, you know, from college, from inception, and to producing it, and to getting it to festivals, building traction. It was one of those things, you know, that it was your baby, so you're never going to give up on it. And eventually something popped with a connection to Amazon, and the rest is history.
Wow. Let's talk about the juggernaut that Amazon has become when it comes to films. You know, like what didn't even exist for films just a couple of years ago.
It's so incredible for people like me, and to give us an opportunity to go make film and have it be seen out there. You know, especially for our mothers, they love it. You know?
That's my boy.
Yeah, but you know, also streaming does open up for, I wouldn't want to say bad film, but definitely a lot more accessibility to people that maybe aren't filmmakers.
Right.
So you do kind of have to go digging for some good films in Amazon now, as opposed to just watching the mainstream ones.
Right. And so, you have those good films.
Absolutely.
How about that?
Amazing films, and we're going to talk about some of them in a minute, but I want to find out, where was the beginning for you in filmmaking? When did you first say, this is what I really want to do, what I'm really passionate about?
Well, you know, I think it's actually a funny story. I skipped school one day, and I watched this movie called Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah. And
skip school, go see Ferris Bueller.
And
you might have heard of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I was in a position where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I said, you know, I could do that. I can make movies. I could create a story, and maybe if I just take some classes and I learn about writing, and I'm a creative guy, like let's do it. Let's take that plunge. And I actually went to a school called Los Angeles Film School, which is a great school. It taught you every facet of the industry over 13 months. And that gave you the opportunity to decide what you wanted to do. And obviously I decided to become a director writer, and that was everything to me. But yeah, I think it's also it's about telling stories, you know, and engaging audiences. And you know, so many filmmakers, I think, today are making self-indulgent stuff for themselves, and I think we kind of need to stray away from that. You need to think, who's going to see this? Who can I touch? Who can I make relate to this project, you know?
All right, I want to talk about Kurt, because I saw the trailer. I know you're still kind of in the last phases of shooting up in it. But
soon.
But you've got some names in here that people would recognize. Like, tell everybody who's in it.
So I think first off, Matthew Lawrence.
Yeah.
You know, he plays not what he usually plays.
He plays a real badass.
Yes.
Like a guy you don't want to be friends
really
with.
Good.
Right, and he's so dark and so interesting in the film.
He's a photographer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, there he is.
You know, and I think at some rate, it's nice to see actors being given the opportunity to do something that they haven't really necessarily done it and are just so talented at. Matthew Lawrence is amazing. Cara Santana is incredible in the film. She plays kind of his number two. You know, there's always a stronger, more powerful woman behind every man in this position like this, and she does such a great job. The new talent, Granite Lahu and Gabrielle Bloomgarden, are incredible. They're infectious to watch. You don't want to stop. You want to watch 10 more movies with them. You know, so they're everywhere around. Michael Olioti, Rima Sempat, who is in Orange is the New Black. Everywhere around this cast, there's just so many great actors.
So when you're setting up a shot, what is your signature? Have you developed a signature? Do you know what you like to see?
Yeah, so Paul Thomas Anderson is like my favorite director, and Paul Thomas Anderson is known for these like long Steadicam shots that kind of bring you in and out of a world. Characters dictate where the camera's going to go, and I love that. I think that's so much about life is you're walking one way and something drives you the other way, and that changes your story, you know?
Yeah, I think it's also interesting that this film is shot on
film. Yeah, 16 millimeter actually. You know, we're trying to bring that back. I do believe.
Like Kodak film?
Yes.
Kodak film. Kodak's heavily supportive of the film. They gave us insane discounts. They worked with us because they saw that we really wanted to do this, you know, and for them, they think, you know, 26-year-old director, he's going to be doing it forever. Let's build with them now.
Let me ask you about using film, because it's a much different environment. It's got to go to the lab. It's got to look perfect. You only get one shot at it.
Oh, it was very tense. You know? But it's a stricter set. People don't screw around. No one's on their phones. No one's taking smoke breaks. It's about, you know, really being dedicated to the project. On my first film, I was working with a bunch of students. On this one, I was working with a bunch of professionals shooting film. For us, we actually didn't really have the budget to watch playback. So we, as soon as it was in the can, that's
just
it.
guess.
Oh, yeah, you were hoping.
Man.
You were hoping. And honestly, Kodak told us, we did our processing in Atlanta, they told us that this was some of the best product they had seen in like 35 years.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So yeah, they were really impressed. Our director, Rafael Medina Aldefio, is an absolute god. And
Wow.
he came from the London Film School. He's a little bit older than me, and he was kind of my sage in this whole process. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without him.
Well, the film is called Kurt, and it'll be out in the summer.
In the summer. You can find it in the summer in the festivals and theatrically in the winter.
Well, Michael Perrone,
Mike, it's been
pleasure
so
meeting
nice
you.
to
Yeah.
meet you.
Thank you
Please
so much
come
for-
back when it's ready.
Are you kidding me?
You're
I
awesome.
want to
You are
come back tomorrow.
Okay.
Much success to you.
Okay.
Continue
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.